Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty at the Duncan Duo. Anytime we aren't on air, follow us on all of our socials and get the update on everything going on in the Tampa Bay real estate market again at the Duncan Duo. I want to talk first and foremost today to the home sellers out there that have had their home fail to sell. Now, this is something that happens every year around this time. Having been in the real estate business for more than 20 years, I see this time of year, you just get a surge of people who are frustrated, whose home didn't sell. And after selling over $3 billion in real estate, we've got a track record of helping people sell their home that failed to sell with someone else. So if this is you, I've got some tips for you today, and I want to help you understand how to get your home sold in 2026 or by the end of this year if it has failed to sell in 2025. The number one thing that I see over and over again when a market shifts, and this year was a shifting market for us. We got hit with hurricanes at the end of last year. We've had high interest rates for a while that have started to have a little bit of relief. And, our real estate market just not as healthy in 25 as it had been in prior years. And so with that being said, when that occurs, the real estate agents that have gotten in the business, a lot of them that haven't been around long enough don't know how to adapt. So what I find is a lot of, overpriced homes, a lot of mismarketed homes, a lot of things being left on the table to get home sellers to the finish line. And so when the market is really hot, it's super easy for homes to sell. Real estate agents look like superstars. They're selling in a matter of days. Home sellers can set their price, and everything is sunshine, rainbows, and unicorn fairy tale fantasy land is how I like to call it. When the market changes, everything changes along with it. So every little detail matters. I see things on a very regular basis, like the school district not being right, or the home being overpriced, or the photos or the videos. So it becomes super crucial to have the right marketing strategy and also the right price. There are a lot of agents who, during the upswing, got used to just telling sellers the price they wanted to hear, because even if the home didn't sell, it would appreciate and get to the number that the home seller wanted. And so what I see now is a lot of agents still offering that same philosophy. When a seller wants to sell, the agent tells them the number that the seller wants to hear. The house goes on the market, and then all the while they're chasing the market down, lowering the price, trying to change things, all because the agent wasn't firm enough at the very beginning to tell them an accurate, real price and be honest with them, instead of just, kind of what I call being an order taker. So the order taker realtor that has survived the last few years has failed in 2025. Fewer and fewer of them are selling homes, and a vast majority of real estate agents didn't do a single transaction in 2025. So if that's you, if you're with an agent that hasn't gotten your home sold, it very well could be that you've got an agent that is one of those order taker agents that hasn't been coached or taught how to sell in a challenging market. So the things that I have for you today, first and foremost, if your listing has expired or it's going to expire by the end of the year and you're not happy, a change of strategy, a change of approach, different photos, a different marketing strategy, and very likely a different price. If your house didn't even get offers or showings, that realistically is probably not your agent. That means you're just way overpriced. If your home has a decent amount of traffic and is getting showings and has gotten offers, it may not be the price. It could be the marketing or the agents negotiating. But if you're not getting offers at all, look, even the most horribly marketed, bad photographed house, if it's priced right, is going to sell and get offers. So the likelihood is your house is overpriced. So the first thing you need to do is consider adjusting the price. Now, The second part of that solution is adjusting the price in an environment that can get eyes on your home. Look, the longer your home is on the market, the fewer home buyers are interested in it, the fewer that want to look at it because they think something's wrong with it. Even if you've been on the market several months and you lower it to the right price or even an aggressive price, it may not be enough to get the activity back and to get the interest back. You can look at stocks and stock market and have an understanding of how this works, because even like a stock that's poorly performing will come out and have like some great earnings or something good happen, and the stock still doesn't recover because it's not enough. Okay. So price, obviously important. A different voice, a different agent is sometimes often needed. The third thing is get an agent that's going to do the right things to get your house off the market and do what is necessary while it's off the market in order to get it sold. There are two reasons why your house needs to come off the market. One, you need the market to reset. If it comes off the market for 60 days, the days on market resets, meaning it comes back on as a new listing. You're in front of a new crop of buyers and it doesn't have that stigma. That lots of days on market stigma, there's not a lot you can do to overcome that. It's like, going to Walmart and buying, stale potato chips that are expired. You look at those on the end cap and it doesn't matter what it's priced. It doesn't matter if Walmart sticks it right in front of your face. You're not buying it. It's the same thing for real estate. You can stick it right in front of people's face and lower the price and have this incredible price, but it won't matter if it's been on the market too long. So you need to reset the days on market. The second thing is you need to reassess your strategy. Are there things within the home from a decoration standpoint, from an upgrade standpoint? Was it not clean? Was it a bad day for photos? Was it not blue skies and sunny outside? All these things are things that a new agent can come in and help refresh all of that. You also can create some pent-up demand in that 60 days. An agent with a solid database that's been around a long time, like my company, we've got a database of over 250,000 people. We can see the agents that sell in your neighborhood. We can target market the home to them before it's even on the market, so that the day it comes back on the market after that 60 days is up, it gets action quickly. So you have to separate yourself from your desire to get your home sold and your in terms of expediently, and your desire to get your home sold the right way. A lot of people want to come off and go right back on because, man, I just want to get it sold. Okay. It's about doing it right, not just about checking a box. If your goal is to just check a box and just get it back on the market because you think that it'll actually help it sell, you're going to lose. And you're going to lose more than a couple mortgage payments you might be trying to save, because you're going to continue to eat up those days on market and have that stigma attached to it. A lot of times your house needs to come off the market. You need to figure out how to economically or financially make it happen so that you can do that to give yourself the best chance at selling, and likely a higher price than the couple of mortgage payments you're trying to not spend by keeping it on the market with a bad strategy. Nothing is worse than keeping a home on the market with bad strategy when it's already got high days on market. It's already been out there a long time. It's already been overpriced. Every buyer in the market has already clicked to next. Last but not least, thing that you need to do to help solidify and prepare yourself for getting your home sold that has failed to sell in 2025. And look, I've already covered the important ones. Your price, okay? Your price is important. Your the agent that you have, it coming off the market, and then last but not least, addressing condition issues, okay? The home's going to get inspected when you buy it anyway. If you've got things that are visibly wrong with your house, like visibly wrong, I'm not talking the little minor things that are going to come up in inspection. I'm saying things that a customer can look at and visibly see there's a problem with. And I don't mean like something they don't like. I mean a defect, like a leak that wasn't, the cosmetic wasn't repaired, or something not working, or scratches, or rooms not painted, or carpets not cleaned. It isn't necessarily important for you to go spend a bunch of money. I'm not saying you need to go and massively renovate your house, but here's what you don't understand living in your house, or even staging it, decluttering it, letting people see the house versus your stuff. All of these things are things that you need to do to improve the presentation of your home. Go to a new construction builder, okay? Go to any if you want to know what to do to get your home ready for sale, follow the money, okay? Follow the multi-billion-dollar organizations that sell thousands of homes a year. Go into one of their sales centers, okay? Walk one of their model homes. That's the vibe and the feel that you need to have in your home. Now, you may not be able to completely recreate that, but you want to get as close as possible to that. If you're selling your home and you want the most amount of money and you want it to sell when it's failed to sell, you're going to have to do a little work, okay? You're going to have a vested interest in the success. Go to a builder model home, walk through it, take some tips, and then go back to your house and do what you can to replicate that. Now, that doesn't mean buy all new furniture. It doesn't mean, make all kinds of upgrades, okay? I'm not saying changing anything. I'm saying decluttering, clean your carpets, steam clean everything, get your house immaculate, get down all your junk, all your personal photos, all your clutter, all your boxes of crap. Get it all out of there. Move it out, okay? Get it to storage. You want your home to feel as close as it possibly can to a model home. The closer you get to your home feeling like a model home when someone walks through it, the greater the chance that you have of selling. And the evidence is there. It's why the largest home sellers, the people that sell the most amount of real estate in the world, do model centers and stage homes. Okay? It's why they don't show homes with people in them. It's why they don't show homes with tenants in them. Okay? It's why they don't want people there. The last thing that I'll tell you that fails a lot of home sellers is you being there. Not just there, but like the aura of you being there. Okay. Like if the home feels like yours to the buyer, they can't fall in love with it. Okay. They can't. They can't emotionally attach to it. It's too branded to you. It needs to be neutral. And similarly, if you're there during showings, of course, they're not going to be able to fall in love. Imagine like how hard it was to fall in love on a first date, the first time you met your spouse, if the parents were behind you the whole time. Okay. That's what it feels like when you're present at a showing. The buyer can't emotionally attach. You're basically telling them they're trespassing. You're bothering them. They're not looking for the facts. They don't care about the age of the AC. They don't care about your kids and where they grew up and how they had fun in the backyard. They don't care about you. They want to fall in love with your house. If you want to sell your house, get out of the way. Okay. So those are my tips today, and I'll break them down again one last time. You want to declutter, make changes to eliminate the aura of problems wrong with the house. You want to get it looking as much like a model home as you can. Sometimes it's got to come off the market for a little bit, adjust your price, hire a new agent, come up with a new strategy. Hopefully that helps you. And look, we'd love to interview for the job of being your new agent. If you need a new strategy, if you need a new marketing approach, hit us up, DuncanDuo.com. We would love to apply for the job of getting your home sold. Again, that's DuncanDuo.com. And I'm going to be back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team. I talked in the first segment. I really focused the first segment on home sellers whose homes haven't sold in 25. I gave you some tips. We're applying for the job too. I gave strategy on how to lower your price, improve your marketing, come off the market for a little bit, and get your house to look like a model home, declutter, make small improvements, not massive upgrades, but just declutter, clean carpets, touch up paint, get your house to move in the direction of looking like a model home as best you can. And that gives you the best chance at getting your home sold. And of course, if you want an expert to take care of all of that for you, just hit us up again at DuncanDuo.com. Got a couple of featured properties this week. Our first one, 11624 Calf Path Drive. Absolutely love this house. In the West Chase area, exclusive community of Highland Park, 1.03 acre conservation lot, 5,300 square foot home, 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath, designed for everyday living and perfect entertaining, primary suite, walk-in. Just, again, a long list, as well as a whole home generator, tankless water heater, impressive energy performance, and one of my favorite things is the 3-car garage. So 11624 Calf Path Drive. You can hit up theduncanduo.com to learn more about that featured property and to see all of our listings, again, at theduncanduo.com. I want to talk to buyers really quickly because this is also a time of year when people are thinking about their plans for 26. And look, interest rates have softened Our real estate market took a hit in 25, and people are very bullish about it being better in 26, as am I. I think we'll see some more interest rate softening. I think we'll see some Washington, D.C. is going to make some moves in terms of, pro-housing initiatives. And I just think it's going to be a great real estate market for Tampa Bay in 26. So if you're thinking about buying a home, I want to give you the tips. I did a video about this week, and I want to talk to all my listeners and give you tips. Now, whether you're an experienced home buyer, whether you're a first-time home buyer, these things all apply to you because the game has changed a lot. It's not the same as it used to be, okay? The first thing you want to do is understand what's in your credit report. You want to know what your score is, and you want to look for errors. You want to know, is everything reporting properly? Is your debt to income, all that stuff is accurate? Your scoring, your amount owed, your credit profile, any collections, mistakes, or errors. Work on getting those resolved. I've seen far too many customers not pay attention to it and think their credit's great and then go out to buy a house and then find out there's a negative item they've got to dispute, and it harms their ability to get qualified or buy their dream home. Second thing that I would encourage you to do is start planning for your down payment. If you have enough for the down payment, great. If you don't, you've got to start saving for it or figuring out where to source it, okay? If you qualify for a low or no down payment, terrific. But if you are going to put down money, you've got to know where that's coming from. Either you've got to start saving, you've got to figure out where you're going to take it from an investment. You can penetrate 401k and IRA through a loan process or things that you can do like that to buy a home. The next thing, start the process of talking to a mortgage lender and a CPA about your taxes, especially if you're self-employed. Self-employed people are notorious for writing a lot of things off. If you write a lot of things off, your income may not look as well as it needs to look to be able to qualify. It could cause some problems. So it's important before the year closes to get with the CPA and your lender for next year and say, hey, I want to buy next year. What do we need to do? Here's my taxes from last year. What do we need to do before the end of the year to get my taxes to look in a place where I'll be able to qualify, okay? Especially if you're self-employed. Self-employed people far too often say, oh, I make $200,000 a year. And then when we get a hold of their taxes, it's $40,000 a year, okay? So do take those steps now. The next thing that I would tell you is start figuring out the neighborhoods that you like and honing in. Nothing is worse than not really knowing what you want. And buyers are notorious for coming to us and saying, yeah, I want a 3-2 in, Sun City Center. And then they buy a 3-2 in Riverview or a 3-2 in Northdale, okay? So hone in on the neighborhood. It'll make your agent's job easier. It'll also make it easier for you to focus on homes that you like. Make sure that you've commuted back and forth to that location during rush hour times. Okay, so you know ahead of time that that's really the area that you like to be in. Do the research on schools, do the research on crime. Your agent really can't help you with a lot of that information. Unfortunately, there's regulations and laws that prevent us from doing that, but do your homework now. The last thing that I would say as you prepare to forge into home ownership in 2026 is don't go into crazy debt over the holidays. Don't open up new lines of credit, and don't spend too much that you can't pay off. Far too often we find people that'll have they did lots of Christmas shopping, or they got new furniture on a 0% interest rate, or they bought a new car, and then it completely destroys their ability. The sales are going to be great. Look, we're in Black Friday season. The sales are going to be awesome. Okay. There's going to be car sales and furniture sales. There's going to be everything under the sun. But what's more important to you, the new computer, the car, or the house of your dreams? Okay, it's the most expensive thing you're going to buy. Show discipline during the holiday season with your expenses and your spending, and it'll give you a better shot at buying a home in 2026. So don't resist the urge to buy the sale or the no interest or the bargains that people tell you are out there during the holidays. They are out there, but if you're buying a home, the last thing you want to do is get into too much debt prior to the end of 25, and then it harms your ability to buy a home in 2026. Hopefully that's helpful. And we also would love to interview for the job of helping you buy your house. You can hit us up at theduncanduo.com. You can do a home search, home valuation, contact us, look at our featured listings, and so much more at theduncanduo.com. And I'm going to be back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. And I made a funny post on Facebook this week, and I said that our company is hiring crypto bros that lost it all in the recent crypto downturn to jump into real estate sales and make it all back. And it prompted me to think about, a segment today where I talk about the differences between real estate investing and other investing, and why I'm obviously a proponent for real estate. I'm obviously biased. I've done incredibly well with it. I've built multiple real estate businesses, own a lot of property, have owned a lot of property, and I certainly do invest in other things. I certainly invest in crypto and in the stock market and private equity. But I want to make a case today for why you should look at real estate and the pros of real estate compared to the cons. And then, of course, compared to other asset classes. And I'm going to start with crypto. Well, first and foremost, one of the big proponents of real estate over crypto is that it doesn't have these huge fluctuation swings like 4 and 5% in a single day. Real estate is the slowest moving market in the world. It's very consistent. It takes a lot to move it in a different direction. So when it's going up, it keeps going that direction for a while. When it's going down, it keeps going that direction for a while. And but it doesn't move dramatically. Okay. So you're not seeing these huge swings and surges. It's not as emotional. It's not as depressing. Your real estate one day isn't going to drop 5% like your crypto account could. Okay. Or 10% even. Real estate is, again, slow moving. We're talking, a few percentage points a month at most is a massive move for real estate. It's usually, the appreciation over a whole year. The tax benefits of real estate are something that gets lost a lot of times. You're able to depreciate property. You're able to take deductions that you don't get to take. You also have the ability to personally improve the property. You can't personally, unless you're Bitcoin mining at a high level, you're not improving your Bitcoin holdings, okay? You're not improving your stock in Google. You're not going to go out to Palo Alto and work on improving Google's valuation of your stock. You can, however, repaint the rental property you own. You can patch the roof. You can improve the yard. You can add mulch. You can sod the front yard. There are things you can do to real estate to improve the value of it that you can't do with other asset classes. The other thing I would say about real estate that I think makes it more compelling than some of the other, asset classes is the ability to leverage it. You can loan against it. You can get loans for it, and really low down payment loans that you can't get those same loan to value on other assets. So it is more highly leverageable. And while I may not necessarily recommend that for most consumers, if you're a savvy real estate investor and, cash on cash is the most important thing, you can buy real estate with lower amounts down versus the capital you might have to outlay to buy another asset. So you can also pivot and use real estate for other things. You can buy a home and then you can turn it into a rental. You can, you get use out of your real estate. You either live in it, right? It's your primary residence. And of course you want it to grow in value, but you're also using it as a place to sleep every night and personally improve and get a joy of life out of. Crypto and stock investments are just kind of sitting in the cloud. And while historically, sometimes crypto and sometimes certain stock classes can outperform real estate over periods of time, they lack, from a pure appreciation percentage standpoint, when you break down the financials, the depreciation and tax benefits of real estate start to even it up without as much risk. Now, few downsides to real estate. Obviously, from an insurance perspective, there are chances of storms destroying your property, especially if you don't have proper flood insurance or proper home insurance. Your Bitcoin sitting in the cloud, not likely to get destroyed by a storm, okay? Your other obstacles with owning rental property is that it takes work. It takes effort. If you're either flipping real estate, you're going to have to manage people. You're going to have to make decisions. You're going to have to go buy the property. If you're renting real estate, you're going to deal with tenants, or you're going to hire someone to deal with tenants, and then it's going to be an extra cost associated. When you own public or private interests in companies or crypto, those are things you don't have to deal with. You're not getting calls about the toilet or this or that. So I'm a big proponent of real estate. I think there's a lot of pros with real estate. I think it should certainly be one of the foremost asset classes that people pay attention to. It has created the most millionaires. Certainly room for crypto and other things in the portfolio, but those are some reasons why I think people naturally should gravitate more towards real estate if those other asset classes don't work for them. I was talking to somebody this week that had put a lot of money into crypto and had done well for a while and then didn't do well for a while. And then now this constant fluctuation, it's up 5%, it's down 5%. It caused them so much anxiety. They're just not made for it. There are some people that just aren't made to deal with the ups and downs of crypto or high volatile stocks. And they would rather have something consistent where even if it's maybe not as great of a potential return, you don't have the downside and you don't have all the anxiety because, again, real estate is slow moving. So speaking of real estate being slow moving, I want to reiterate something I talked about last week. That we run into problems with clients sometimes because real estate is the slowest moving market in the world. Again, it is the slowest moving market in the world. Okay. Because of that, all of the things that it takes to move the needle for either home sales to increase or price to appreciate, sudden changes in the world government, in the national government and state governments, discussions about new policy changes or, abolishment of property taxes or more people are going to move here from New York because Mamdani got elected, or the President Trump tweets out that we're going to give a stimulus, or we're going to do 50-year mortgages, or we're going to do portable mortgages, or interest rates are going to drop, right? Like in the stock market, those things can be very manipulative. You can have some sort of release or some sort of announcement about something, and then a certain stock or asset class can move very, very massively, okay? Real estate doesn't work like that, okay? The values of real estate are not immediately being positively or negatively massively impacted because of any policy. Because first off, the policy's got to get announced, it's got to get implemented, and it's got to have time to work, okay? So, we had people this week call us and say, oh, we want to raise the price of our house because Mamdani got elected in New York. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It is just not reality. Your home isn't worth more money because the mayor of New York City is a socialist. It just doesn't exist. Now, could a few years down the line, because of how slow moving real estate is and how complicated it is for the market to move, and could a few years down the line it have a positive impact? Yes, and I think it very well may. But that doesn't mean your home is going to now suddenly appraise. The appraiser isn't coming out looking at your house saying, oh, let me see here. Here's the numbers. Okay. Well, here's the bump for Mamdani. Like, it just doesn't happen. Or the bump because the president said 50-year mortgages are coming. The market, real estate doesn't move psychologically and emotionally like the stock market. Is very slow moving. So these things that happen politically, until the results actually happen, until the things pass, and until there's enough time for it to have impact, it doesn't move our real estate market. We have no idea if this guy's going to get elected and get anything passed at all. Okay. He may pass nothing. It could be just a bunch of political promises that never get met, like most politicians. Okay. Similarly, 50-year mortgage gets floated. We have no idea if that'll ever happen. Portable mortgage, which I think that's laughable that people buy that could possibly happen. I love the idea of it, but also as a guy that owns a real estate company, a title company, and has a mortgage branch, I don't see any possible way to appease all of the people whose hands are in the cookie jar of the mortgage world to be able to let people just pop their mortgage onto something else. I just don't see that happening. That is way too complicated. And I'll give you an example as to why some of this government intervention into real estate won't work. Okay. Go to the DMV. Go to the DMV and see about what your experience is like going to the DMV and how many times you have to go in there with different paperwork and how long you have to wait. And you take like a sticker. You take like a little sticker. I mean, how 1984 is that? You take a little sticker and you wait, right? Go to the DMV and tell me how well run it is. Go to any other, go to the tax collector's office. Go to any governmental organization and tell me how well it's run. And then tell me that this major complication of how mortgages can become portable that the government has to have his hands in is going to actually work. It won't. It won't. Okay. So the discussion of those things for real estate don't matter until they actually happen and we have results from it from months down the line of impact. If we see mass population increase over a 1-year period from New York because of policies that actually pass, it could trickle to impacting our values. It could trickle to impacting our population, right? Like, it's just not instantaneous. So there's no psychological overreaction in real estate like there is in these other markets where news comes out and the whole world thinks the world's either crashing or rising, or they're a bull or they're a bear. Just real estate is just real. It's like a turtle, man. It's a snail. It's just it's slow and steady. It just keeps kind of moving it, and it's either moving up or it's moving down, but it's moving really slow and steady. So none of these things massively move the needle for real estate. So if you pay attention too much to the stock market and then you try and naturally get to the point where you can think that, that you see what happens when the president says something, when he puts something on True Social and it hits X or social media, and you see the reaction in the public markets, you can't drop that on top of real estate and expect it to operate the same way. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't connect. It just doesn't. So my point being is that when you see these things happen, there is no instantaneous impact to values. The only things, okay, that instantaneously move the real estate market are rate cuts, okay? And they don't even instantaneously. The market actually lags ahead of it. So if there's going to be a Fed rate cut in December, which it looks like there's not going to be now, but if that sentiment changes and it gets closer to that date and it looks possible, mortgage companies will start pricing that in already, okay? So that will move the needle down. And of course, that moves the needle and does pick up the market and bring up buyers and help values. But it's negligible. It's a quarter point. We're not talking like interest rates got cut 2%. A quarter point, it moves it, but it's really, really small, okay? So this idea that there's these huge swings, so if you pay attention a lot to crypto or high volatile stocks and you think that's the way real estate works, it just doesn't. It doesn't work like that at all, not even close. It's one of the benefits of the asset class. It's also one of the things that helps protect my stress, because I couldn't imagine if home values were rising or falling 5% in a day. But it just doesn't work like that. So real estate, its own unique animal. You have to stop thinking of it like other markets and stop comparing crypto or stocks and thinking that public policy or elections or things are going to massively move the needle for real estate. Storms, that is one thing that can massively move the needle, a hurricane, because it actually happens. Everything else is speculation. Speculation doesn't move real estate. The only thing that moves real estate is actual things that happen and then the results that follow. So hopefully that's helpful for you to understand. If you're thinking about selling your home and you failed to sell it in 2025 and you want to get it sold in 2026, hit up DuncanDuo.com. Again, that's DuncanDuo.com. We'll be back with our last segment after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market, and I want to hit you with some 2026 predictions for our real estate market right here in Tampa Bay. Talked about this in earlier segments. I've talked about it on the show before, but I think it's important for you to understand what I believe we're moving into in 2026. I think Tampa Bay is set for a boom year, meaning that we're going to see considerable increase in the number of sales, and I think we'll get back to seeing a stabilization and some appreciation in 2026. Now, all right? Now, when I say a boom, I'm comparing it to the last years. We're not going to see a COVID-esque year, in my opinion, depending on what happens in May with a new Fed governor and the direction that interest rates go. That could obviously change the game. A lot of that, is speculative and hard to say. But just looking at what we know right now, the housing market is set for a 2026 comeback. NAR economists came out with some information, and I want to tell you what they believe the forecast is going to be for 26 and how that compares to Tampa. They believe existing home sales nationally are going to increase 14%. New home sales are going to increase 5%. Median home price is going to increase 4%. Mortgage rates slightly below 6%. Job gains of 1.3 million and an unemployment rate of 4.4%. Now, the unemployment rate for some people gets them a little scary because it's rising. But the reality is AI and tech are going to replace some jobs, but it's also going to create some higher paying jobs, improve efficiencies, and fortunately, I think have an overall positive effect on the economy, even if there is some job loss because of the poverty they could help solve, the efficiencies it could help solve. But let's talk about the existing home sales. I think Tampa will actually see a higher than a 14% existing home sales increase in 26. I think it's going to be more like 20%. And the reason being is because we're comparing it to 25, okay? And 25, we lost some home sales to the hurricanes. 24, the hurricanes hit late. And then the early part of 25, there were a lot of sales that didn't happen. There were homes that were damaged. We had this hurricane hangover, okay? So I think we'll see a better than 20% increase, but it's really kind of relative because of the fact that the numbers are skewed a little bit because our market got hit with these two massive storms. New home sales increase of 5%. I think Tampa Bay is going to see a higher number than that. I think we are seeing population growth coming back a little bit post-storm. Some stuff happening up north I think will move the needle on population. Not massively, like I talked about. It's not going to move it massively, but I do think it will move the needle. Median home price increase of 4%. I think we'll see slightly higher than that, more like a 5 or 6% increase in Tampa Bay. Again, recovery from the storms. We've just tended to outperform the rest of the country in Florida. And so when the market's doing really bad, Florida's doing really bad. When the market's doing really good, Florida does a little bit better. Mortgage rates, obviously that's something that's a moving target. They predicted in the 6. I think there's a reasonable chance we see lower than that into the 5s. Again, a lot of it will depend on who they make the Fed chair, whether there's a cut in December and January. But President Trump seems pretty ambitious that he's going to put a Fed chair in that is going to massively cut rates. And whether or not that's good long-term, it could be argued economically whether or not that's a good choice. But I do believe it will have a short-term positive impact on real estate. I think we'll see lower than 6 next year. Job gains, 1.3 million, not 2 million. So the NAR thinks that we're going to see some job gains. I don't know that we'll see as many job gains, truthfully, as they're predicting. We have seen unemployment rise to the highest number. We did see job numbers improve in September, but I don't know that we're going to quite get to that number simply because I think companies are getting more efficient, and AI it's going to improve companies' profitability. It's going to open up new executive higher paying jobs, but it is going to eliminate some low paying jobs. There's no question in service and sales related industries, customer service and sales related industries, that it's already starting to have that impact, kind of that transformational change. So I think overall, very positive real estate market for Tampa Bay. The things that I would pay attention to that could possibly move the market much higher are twofold. One, I think it's going to be a really good year regardless, but depending on what happens with the Federal Reserve in May, that will have an impact. Secondarily, the weather. Hurricane season. If we have I think the 20% number gets met in terms of increase in existing home sales next year. If we have a clean hurricane season, if we have really bad hurricane season that destroys a lot of real estate and scares a lot of consumers from moving here or from buying or selling, then that obviously could work in the opposite direction. So those are the two wild cards that could change those numbers for the better, for the worse next year. What happens with the Fed and interest rates, and then, of course, what happens with hurricane season. So hopefully that's been helpful for you. If you want to stay up to date on all things real estate, as well as enter into our contests and giveaways, we give away Lightning tickets, Lightning signed merch as the official agents of the Bolts. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials. We are at The Duncan Duo. Again, that is at The Duncan Duo for all of your real estate needs. And last but not least, if you're thinking about the holidays and a refinance, there is a product called a Streamline that allows you to refinance your VA or FHA mortgage, lower the interest rate, not come out of pocket with cash, skip a payment during the holidays. Okay. And it doesn't have the same stringent requirements for qualification, employment, and equity that other traditional refinances do. If you have an FHA or a VA and you're above 7, you should really look at getting a Streamline refinance. Even in the high 6s at this point, you should probably look at it if you're in a financial tough spot. Just go to citywidetampa.com. Again, that's citywidetampa.com. Local loan officers, You get personal white glove service, local loan officers to help you understand what your financial situation is and what you can qualify for in terms of that refinance. Again, that is citywide at tampa.com, and have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay.